Daily Bread, August 19th, 2020. Only trust. Key verse. So there was food every day for Elijah and for the woman and her family. 1 Kings 17:15. Today's scripture, 1 Kings 17, 8-16, Niv. 8 Then the word of the Lord came to him. 9 Go at once to Zarephath in the region of Sidon and stay there. I have directed a widow there to supply you with food. 10 So he went to Zarephath. When he came to the town gate, a widow was there gathering sticks. He called to her and asked, "Would you bring me a little water in a jar so I may have a drink?" 11 As she was going to get it, he called, "And bring me, please, a piece of bread." 12 As surely as the Lord your God lives, she replied, "I don't have any bread, only a handful of flour in a jar and a little olive oil in a jug. I am gathering a few sticks to take home and make a meal for myself and my son, that we may eat it, and die." 13 Elijah said to her, "Don't be afraid, go home and do as you have said. But first make a small loaf of bread for me from what you have and bring it to me, and then make something for yourself and your son." 14 For this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says, "The jar of flour will not be used up and the jug of oil will not run dry until the day the Lord sends rain on the land." 15 She went away and did as Elijah had told her. So there was food every day for Elijah and for the woman and her family. 16 For the jar of flour was not used up and the jug of oil did not run dry, in keeping with the word of the Lord spoken by Elijah. Insight. Our Daily Bread, the 19th of August 2020 Devotional. An interesting part of this story is the difference between what God tells Elijah and the widow's initial response. God said he had directed a widow to supply him with food, 1 Kings 17:9. But when he asked the widow for bread, she replies that she doesn't have enough to spare. She even swears by the Lord your God, v. 12, a direct reference to the one who gave her the instructions. It was common to swear by a deity to prove someone was telling the truth. In this case, a woman did so to declare that she didn't have the means to feed Elijah. Despite the reminder, from her own lips, of the instructions she received, she obeys only after Elijah reassured her that God would provide for them until the famine was over. Message. Our Daily Bread, the 19th of August 2020 Devotional. 300 children were dressed and seated for breakfast, and a prayer of thanks was offered for the food, but there was no food. Situations like this were not unusual for orphanage director and missionary George Mueller, 1805 to 1898. Here was yet another opportunity to see how God would provide. Within minutes of Mueller's prayer, a baker who couldn't sleep the night before showed up at the door. Sensing that the orphanage could use the bread, he had made 3 batches. Not long afterward, the town milkman appeared. His cart had broken down in front of the orphanage. Not wanting the milk to spoil, he offered it to Mueller. It's normal to experience bouts of worry, anxiety, and self-pity when we lack resources essential to our well-being: food, shelter, health, finances, friendships. 1 Kings 17, 8-16 reminds us that God's help can come through unexpected sources like a needy widow. "I don't have any bread, only a handful of flour in a jar and a little olive oil in a jug," v. 12. Earlier it was ravens that provided for Elijah, v. 4-6. Concerns for our needs to be met can send us searching in many directions. A clear vision of God as the provider who has promised to supply our needs can be liberating. Before we seek solutions, may we be careful to seek Him first. Doing so can save us time, energy, and frustration. By Arthur Jackson. Reflect. What's been your experience when you've focused on securing provision before seeking the provider in prayer? What current needs will you bring before God? Today's prayer: Father, sharpen my vision of you as the provider for all my needs. Forgive me for times I have futilely sought to find my way without seeking you first. Thanks for reading today's Our Daily Bread, the 19th of August 2020 Devotional. Only trust. Please share this topic with other people.